Hi, welcome to the Gear Garage. My name is Zach, and this is my show about whitewater things. I was recently asked to do an episode about the cameras that I use for photos and videos, so here it is. And I was also asked about the settings that I use, and let's start with settings, because that's going to be the easiest topic here. I generally stay in automatic. I know there's a lot of fancy settings you can be doing, but as a boater, a lot of times I'm pulling my camera out really quick. I might be in my kayak in an eddy. I might be rowing with one hand, taking photos with it in my camera. I'm usually pulling my camera out to get a photo or a video at a moment. And so I don't fiddle with my cameras too much. And if I change a setting, I have to change it back. So as a boater, I'm gonna use automatic as much as I can. I'm gonna set things ahead of time to deal with low light, because I find that the biggest issue for a lot of paddling photos is there's not always good light. And so I want cameras and settings and lenses that deal with low light. So with that, let's talk about the cameras that I use. And honestly, most of the camera I'm using now is the iPhone. This is a sweet way to go, especially as they get newer and newer, getting the latest and greatest one. They take great photos, great video. And you know, if I'm gonna use this photo for Instagram or Facebook, I just go from my phone straight there. I don't have to download it to my computer, edit, and move it around. I can just take the photo here, upload it, I'm done. So the workflow a lot of times with the phone is really easy. It's also really easy for me to send this to my Macintosh stuff through AirDrop, I think it's called. And so if I need to get it to my computer, I can quickly wirelessly do it. I'm not attaching a bunch of things and clicking buttons. And so I also, you know, this is, people say it's waterproof. It can go in right in your PFD. I'm not sure if I believe that. Over the years, I've probably waterlogged 5 or 6 iPhones. I've destroyed a lot of these taking them boating. And this is the latest one. I haven't destroyed this one yet because I've used this little dry bag thing. And I'll put a link to all the stuff that I show in the show down in the notes. There'll be Amazon links so I get a commission. But if you click them, you'll find this is a Seal Line dry bag. I usually take this rubberized thing off when I'm taking boating, and it goes in and out of this bag really easy, right? And so it's nice to have a phone for emergencies, but also like if it's in my PFD kind of tucked in here, I can get to this pretty quick, pull it out, and get a quick photo or video. And the quality, again, is really good. It's not top notch, but it's really, really good. So I'm a big fan of just using your phone and then having a little dry bag it sits in. And like I said, this Seal Line bag works great. I've used life-proof boxes and otter boxes, and they're good. I just, if you constantly take them in and out of the boxes, like I don't want to have the life-proof box in my regular life. And so I was always removing it and putting it back in, and eventually they leak. And when water leaks in, and then it's forced to stay in the life-proof box, then it makes the phones go bad. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but you don't want to like have a little bit of water get in and have it be in a case for a few hours. And so again, this is great. So I use the iPhone a lot. Next, I do have some fancy cameras. I do a lot of photography and videography for my company. And so I have these for taking photos like river scenes or boating or camp scenes. And so this is a Sony Alpha 7 III. The body's about $2,000. So it's an expensive camera. And I've broken, one time before, I was rowing with one hand and taking a photo with the other one and went into a hole and flipped. And I have destroyed one of these, and it really hurts. It's a punch in the stomach. So I try not to use these on the river unless I, you know, have just like the most amazing shot. But it's $2,000 for the body, then lenses are on top of that. And I have lenses for wide angle and for telephoto. I have a bunch of lenses personally for doing different things. This is a great camera. It has a lot of cool settings. I don't use many of them, but it takes really high quality photos that you can then go into Photoshop and make even better. Next is the camera I'm videoing right now. It's the Sony Alpha 6400. It's awesome. I've taken it on river trips before. It does high quality video, high quality photos. It's really sweet, and it's about $1,000. And I highly recommend that for most people. This is probably too much camera for most people. It's probably too much camera for me. I probably could do everything on the 6400 and probably should do everything on that camera. And the whole Alpha 6000 series is great. 6400, 6500, 6600. I think there's a 6000. They're all similar. Pretty user-friendly, high-quality stuff. I can't recommend those enough. So, and I like Sony cameras. I used to do Canon. Now I do Sony. So, next is the GoPro. And I use GoPros a lot too. You can just take, they're great because they're waterproof. And the new ones are really simple. They don't have a casing. You can just put this in your PFD, right, pull it out and take photos. It's actually pretty nice. You don't have to mount it to your head or mount it to your boat. Like, it could just be the camera you use in your hand. these things do really cool time lapses. And so sometimes in camp, I'll just set this on a rock and do like a 5-hour time lapse. To do that though, I have to plug it in, I have to plug the power in, which I can do. So it has like a battery that continually charges it. But these are just good overall cameras. They take good quality stuff. This thing is sort of in a fisheye adventure lens, so it is a little distorted. You know, it's not perfect, but it does a great job. And the fact that they're really durable and they're waterproof are pretty sweet. For mounting it into a boat or in the back of a cataract, I use a sup paddle myself and this bike mount. And the bike mounts look like this. I'll put a link down below to where you can find these on Amazon. And so this is like a handlebar mount, right? And it works really well, fits around a paddle. And then I can just have this tightened down really well, but with my hand I can adjust the angle. And so this is a GoPro 8 and does a great job. These are super affordable now. GoPro 7s are even more affordable. They're all good cameras. I also have one GoPro 10, this one right here. I love the GoPro 10. It does like super high quality. You can slow-mo things. It has a super wide view if I want a super wide view, which is great for putting it, for getting footage of you from the back, boating, or from the front. You know, it's a great camera. It's just expensive, and losing these is a bummer. So, and I do lose GoPros kind of often because I smack into a rock and this thing pops off, or I've had all kinds of things. I've lost a lot of GoPros, and so day to day I'll use the 8. Just because if I lose this, I'm not going to be as hurt. But if I wanted to get a really good shot, I will use the 10. I like the 10 a lot, but I really don't want to lose this camera. And going back to mounts too, I like to mount it to a paddle because one, this is an adjustable sub paddle, so I can extend it. I can extend it out or move it in if I want to. And you know, the paddle, if I'm in a raft, I can shove the paddle under a thwart and it stays in place. And if I'm using a cat or something, I just get super creative with the cam straps and just cam all kinds of things on to hold this on. So I'm going to personally use a paddle. The nice second benefit of a paddle is if you need a paddle, this is also a paddle. So if you lose all your paddles, well, guess what? Take a GoPro off and you can paddle with this thing. So I'm a big fan, again, of the paddle and these fancy little GoPro mounts that do break. I mean, they can break, but I found them to be pretty strong. All right. Next I want to talk about, we'll talk about the bag last. Drones. And I've had a lot of drones over my time. I've crashed a lot of drones. I've sank a few drones. Drones have been an expensive hobby for me, but they're shots you can only get with a drone. And the drone is like having a tripod you can put anywhere. So even if you're not doing some cool, like fly down the canyon or following kayaker shot, if you just need to get a camera somewhere else, like there's a lot of shots I'll take that people that are with a drone that people don't know are with a drone. I put it into a spot I just can't hike to, or it's a pain to get to. And so it's just a movable camera. So beyond just like, again, those cool follow things down the river shots, it's just a very, very, very mobile camera. The DJI drones are super user-friendly. They have great cameras in them. They're really impressive. And I've had a bunch, I've crashed a bunch. This is the latest one I crashed. This is the DJI Mini 2. And this is a good one to learn how to practice with, but I wouldn't recommend it for river canyons because it doesn't get a very good GPS signal. And that's my experience. And when you're in a V canyon, it's hard for these things to see a lot of GPS satellites, but you want it to get a good GPS signal because that's how it stays in a spot. So your goal with a drone is to have it go somewhere and sit there until you give it another command. Well, if you don't get GPS signal, it starts wandering, right? And then it could wander into a tree or who knows where. And so it's very relaxing when this thing has GPS signal. It's going to stay in one spot. And this one I crashed actually because I was backing up trying to get a shot. And if you from the sides or the front, it has obstacle avoidance. But from the back, it doesn't. I backed into a tree and it fell down into the Wind River. So this one's actually fell in the river. It stayed overnight in the river, and I got it back the next day. I don't think it works anymore. I haven't tried it yet, but I struggled with this one because one, it doesn't have the backward avoidance, obviously. Two, the GPS signal is hard to get, and three, because it's so light, and the wind really moves it around. And so river canyons are windy, and the wind really pushes this one around. My favorite drone right now, and my newest one, is the DJI Mavic Air 2. And I've had a couple of the Mavics, and the Mavics are great. This is basically just a Mavic, but better, I think. It's pretty straightforward. I used a bunch now. It gets a great GPS signal. It has some weight, so the wind doesn't toss it around too much. It has a killer camera, really high quality camera, and it's pretty easy to run. Like, most of you could just pick it up and figure it out and be flying around pretty quickly. It's pretty amazing. And with the avoidance, the collision avoidance stuff it has, it's really hard to run it into something. And so if you want a drone, I highly recommend getting this. The cool thing about these drones is they fold up and they get small. And that's why they're easy to take boating. And so let's talk about waterproof bags now, which is related to the drones. I'm a big fan of this. This is the Watershed, I think at Koi. It's the smallest one. I also use this padding in here. So there's like padding that Watershed makes. And I shove it in here. And whether I'm taking, you know, my good camera, which fits in here beautifully and why I originally got this, or I can put the drone in here. And it's not the most protection for a drone. Over time, it's gonna be hard on your drone. The best thing you can bring probably is a Watershed, oh, not a Watershed, a Pelican box, which is a hard box for these. But I can put this in here with the controller on my lap in a kayak. It comes in and out really easy, where a Pelican box won't fit in my lap in a kayak. And so I really appreciate that this fits in a Watershed bag. I feel like these Watersheds are the most waterproof thing out there, even better than a Pelican box. That's my experience, at least. So I feel good about them in terms of waterproofness, but I get a little nervous about how they kind of, you know, there's a lot of stuff to move here and you could break something. So I'm careful with it, and I put it inside that padding to really pad it well. So that's what I'm using for camera stuff right now. Just to review really quickly, for day-to-day stuff, for most of what I'm doing, I'm using iPhone. iPhone's awesome. If you want some high quality, I like the Sony stuff. I put it all on automatic most of the time. It does great. It's all about lenses though, so you gotta have a bunch of lenses. This is it's expensive really quick. And I think for on the river itself, not the smartest thing. I love like a GoPro 7 or 8 for just day-to-day stuff. You can clip it onto things or just take photos with it or video. The 10 is killer if you want to spend some money, but man, GoPros get lost and broken. So that 10 I'm really careful with. And then, man, this Mavic drone is really cool if you want to get into drones. So that's what I'm using for the majority of my stuff. I can't see myself making any changes this year. Nothing coming out on the market, to me, is going to be better than any of this. So that's what I'd recommend for whitewater stuff. A lot of you do other things. If you have suggestions about other products to use, or you have ideas for settings, or you think some slightly different models better, like leave in the comments below. Like, I'm still learning. I've made a lot of mistakes buying a lot of stuff and breaking a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. So please leave your comment down there as to what you would use. Again, all of these things in the notes down below. I'll put Amazon links too if you want to buy any of this stuff. The show, you know, I get some money when you buy from those links, so thank you. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, join as a member, do all the things. And that's it for this episode. See you next time.